Zatanna issue 1. I was really reluctant about this book, primarily because there's been a few modern books that we've gone over, and it's really put a bad taste in my mouth. So when I bought this, I was really hoping beyond hope that was going to be good. And well, is it good? Let's check it out. What kind of killed me when I got it in the mail, because what kind of enticed this whole thing is I got a Batman book for my kid at the library, and it's kind of like choose your own adventure. And there was an episode with Zatanna, and my kid's like, "Who's Zatanna?" And I kind of explained what she does. And he's like, "Do you have any comic books by her?" And it really occurred to me that I don't really have any Zatanna comics. I was like, well, crap. So I looked online, found this one, ordered it. And when I did the unboxing of it that we went through, this page right here worried me, because I've talked about how a lot of modern comics will use that kind of cutesy Tumblr art. And so I was really concerned when I saw this. But let's read it, and then we'll kind of understand. It says, "Once upon a time, that was and was not, when the stars whispered of future forgotten hues. In a large golden castle lived the princess in her gloomy shadow. No matter how hard the princess tried, she could not stop her shadow from crying. Desperate for aid, the princess approached the village of Magi, living below her castle. The Magi cast a mighty spell upon the princess, and her shadow began to rise. Thus, one princess became two, a sister of light and a sister of shadow." Okay, I can see how you're using that as story time, because when you open it up, this artwork right here is really freaking awesome. This reminds me of like a mixture, like when you look at it in its entire composition, this reminds me of a mixture of both, like an homage to Alex Ross, and then of course my favorite Zatanna and Femme Fatale DC artist Adam Hughes. And that's probably the only run from pre-Flashpoint that I would really want is the Zatanna run, because his artwork on that was phenomenal. And so seeing this page, it gives you a relatively quick rundown of Zatanna's history. So as I've said, your first comic should be your first comic. And this kind of gives you an idea of what she is, who she's associated with, her dad teaching her to be a master of the arts like he was. And so she's practicing her, speaking. And I try to do this before I do my recording too, where she's saying the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. And so if you must cross a course, cross a crowded crow, cross the course, cross. Say that 3 times fast. But this is Zatanna, all ready for you. Be right there. 3, 2. And I love how she's not wearing makeup. She's just relaxing. And then as she's saying 3, 2, 1, we start to see lipstick appear on her face here. And then, boom, and a great Adam Hughes style splash page, showtime. That's how you introduce the Mistress of the Mystic Arts. Yes, I know that's, that is Doctor Strange's thing, but this is Zatanna, so I'm going to go with it. Don't care. And we realize that she's going to this, oh my God. Okay, y'all are going to make me say this. The Trepashore Theater in San Francisco, I think is how you pronounce it. And they're like, we haven't even started yet, right? We haven't even started rehearsal. You haven't started. I wake up ready to perform. All right, everyone. So she realizes that she's doing this show in San Francisco. She goes, together, our aim is to become a melding of magic, music, dance, and all your various arts to create a night that celebrates pure imagination. That is also why I chose this venue, Trepashore. If I'm saying it wrong, feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. But before anything can really happen, which I'm not going to give everything away, I do like that when there's supposed to be a lot of things happening, we get this cool composited photo of how everyone's rehearsing and getting ready. And then as the last panel comes to fruition here, we see that they're practicing the sword thing, which keep in mind, because that's actually a plot point later that I don't want to give away too much. But what hooked me, I was like, okay, this is building up. Okay, cool. But then what really hit me is it starts to feel like a locked haunted house. And I'm kind of hoping that they'll keep that theme for a few issues. And I'll explain why here in a minute. But we see these hands reaching through the theater, and it was like, Zatanna! And then, I don't know about y'all, but I noticed that her spells are words backwards, which always throws me. And it says, apparitions release. and she thinks that she's getting everyone, but a couple of her friends gets sucked into the paintings. And so it's cool as we go across time. It's sort of like going into these old school movie theaters, and we come to find out that the antagonist of this is the lady in white. Which I'm trying to think why that hits me in an old school Hollywood way, but I cannot think of the name. If y'all can kind of help me out, let me know. But the point of this is okay. We got the action, we got the buildup of where we are. We're established, and we're trying to figure out why the white lady is taking all of her friends. She goes, "You're the lady white. What do you want with my crew?" Big piece of advice, magician. Don't waste precious words on me, because your crew are not safe. And then I love how this artist, which I'll try to find I don't know where the hell you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? I haven't had a coffee today. The credits are, I think they're at the end. But anyway, we get this very vintage Hollywood 40s, 50s style movie posters. They came from above, Bridge in Autumn, Hotel, Full Throttle. And these are all movies that the white lady, I guess, starred in. And I love that the color palette he uses really captures that 1950s old school vintage pulp comic look here. It just really helps set the scene. And as we go into each one, we kind of get that feeling. Like we get the big swing bands, and everyone, of course, is the white lady front and center. And then she goes into a noir tale, which is called Leave Them in the Rain. And as she goes in, I love that we start using the old school noir detective descriptions. I was witness to two different worlds separated by small bang of cold steel revolver. Before I pulled the trigger, objective truth and rationality ruled absolute. And afterward, the world belonged to her. And we just get this awesome piece of her catching the bullet with her teeth. With a single command uttered from her lips, the fabric of reality itself bent over backwards just for the honor to acquiesce to her will. She was magic, pure magic. Truth and rationality no longer existed. She had taken their place. She was okay, and she says pause backwards, and he had to kind of a laugh. You kind of needed that moment of levity, and it wasn't stupid. It wasn't quirky. It was funny. It added to the story. She goes, that was giving me a headache. Oh dear, no appreciation for lions. Young magician, shame. Quiet. You've had your fun, Lady White, but I don't appreciate you putting my crew in. I've heard stories about you, stories of your life, stories of your death. Why don't you tell me another? Why did you drag yourself out from eternal sleep to come after us? Okay, here we go. Another backwards one. Speak and tell me the truth. There it is. Simply for the opportunity to witness your expression at this precise moment. Now remember, the sword fight that I talked about a moment ago, I don't want to give that away, so I'm going to block that, because of course they put it on the bottom. But this story is called A Moonlit Blade. Jamal Campbell, he is basically doing all the art, and I could really, like I said, see the Alex Ross and Adam Hughes inspiration, and I'm loving it, especially with the rest of the art team here. This is Ariana Maher doing the lettering, everyone else doing the variant covers, and I think that's it. Yeah, Jamal Campbell is basically doing all of the artwork, and I hope that he stays on it, because I'm really starting to feel something special in this book. And what I'm liking is it doesn't have to be rebooted with an absolute title, or should I say, yeah, imprint. And it catches you up just enough. So if you're a new reader, that opening composition that we saw really kind of gives you Zatanna in a nutshell, minus, of course, the Justice League's dark stuff with Constantine and Swamp Thing and whatnot. But yeah, for a reintroduced issue number 1, this is what you want. You want some action, you want a little bit of comedy, you want some drama, and the artwork just hits on every single panel, especially this one when we're kind of more in her mind. Everything kind of has that hazy feel about it. Then when we hit reality, the colors become more what do you call it? The contrasts and the golds to just show that this is reality. Or is it? Because it's a Zatanna book. But yeah, I was blown away by this comic. And I'm kind of hoping that this sort of starts to feel more like a scary, like a horror book, I guess you could say, or a suspense. I love locked room stories, whether they're ghost stories like A House on Haunted Hill, or more of a kind of a crime eerie one. It wasn't Vincent Price. It was an old movie in that time period called The Bat. I don't remember who directed it. But just those type of stories always get me anxious. And I'm really feeling that vibe with this book. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is to get your action figures and comics and grab this book. I'm definitely going to be grabbing issue 2 at some point in history with my backlog. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Zatanna bell next to subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talk with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.